definitely a lot of games on this schedule, so let's go ahead and waste no time. Let's get right into the first one. And our first one is going to be a Thursday game between Central Arkansas and Missouri. I think you and I can agree that Missouri's definitely slept on this season because last season they were very high on, and honestly, I'm surprised they're not ranked in the AP Top 25 poll. I feel like they're deserving it so. But Bo Pabula, that's going to be the starting quarterback. Though they're going to be playing two quarterbacks in this game to figure out who's going to be quarterback one. In my eyes, it should be Bo Pabula, but who knows? So how do you have Missouri starting off this season against Central Arkansas? It is a tune-up game, but what are you looking for on Thursday night for this Missouri squad?
I think we want to see was Ahmad Hardy always built up to be. I mean, this team's getting back to power running, and they got a dual threat quarterback. So I think we want to see how well Missouri can run the football because they lost their two best receivers. So they're going to have to go back to that ground game. So if they can run it with ease, I'd feel a lot better about this team making a run in the SEC. But, yeah, they're going to get it done week one.
Yeah, really no time to talk about this game. It should be an easy one. Just get 1-0 and go on to the next one. So we all rolling with the Tigers. And yes, Chet, our upset specialist, is back with us for another year, picking with us every single week, and we're going to be compiling it. We'll also have some guest pickers whenever we have some big-time matchups. Obviously, in week number one we do, but we're going to save some for the next couple of weeks. So definitely tune into that. Now we get our first SEC versus Big 12 matchup, Auburn at Baylor. This is definitely one that I'm excited for. Baylor definitely getting a lot of hype in the Big 12, a wide open Big 12, as you saw from Iowa State and Kansas State, how crazy that this conference can get. It's only week number 0. But Baylor, they're returning Sawyer Robinson, a very talented defense. Auburn, some new faces for them, like I mentioned, Eric Singleton, the transfer from Georgia Tech, and then Jackson Arnold. And this is going to be a do-or-die year for Hugh Freeze. If he doesn't honestly make a bowl game or even go more beyond that, this might be the end for Freeze. So this is a big-time matchup for Auburn. So do you have them starting 1-0, or do you have the Bears getting it done at home?
I love this matchup, and I'm so glad it's on Friday so that we can watch it, right, and not have it interfere with the LSU game. I'm high on Baylor this year, man. I'm high on Auburn too, but I'm going to go with Baylor at home. I think that the returning experience with Robertson at quarterback goes a long way, and I'm just not sold on Jackson Arnold yet. I still think he's kind of what limits this team. But I do think they'll be improved. But I think that they have a little bit of a ceiling still until he kind of lives up to that 5-star billing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is going to be a 4-quarter battle, but I'm going to give it to the home team. And Baylor, like you mentioned, I'm also high on Baylor. I don't have them winning the Big 12. That pick is Utah at the moment for me. But I'm going to go with Baylor. This is going to be a back-and-forth matchup. I think I wouldn't be surprised if both teams got into like the mid to lower 30s, be like a 34-31 type of game, both explosive offenses. But I'm going to go with the Bears, and it's a clean sweep of Baylor. So poor old Auburn's not getting any respect from us, but we'll see if they can pull off the shocker out there in Waco. And now let's get into our SEC talk game of the week. It's only the third game we're talking about, but Big Noon Kickoff gives us this at 11 a.m. And it's also going to be College Game Day, Lee Corso's final show. Definitely going to be excited to tune into that one. Number 1, Texas at number 3, Ohio State. This is a rematch from last year's college football playoff semifinal game. And Ohio State ended up winning this one. If you remember, Jack Sawyer, with the late scoop and score, was able to separate the Longhorns from the Buckeyes, as the Buckeyes, with that win, ended up winning the national championship. But those are definitely two different squads heading into this matchup. Two new quarterbacks. Ohio State's rocking with Jalen Sand, and Texas is rolling with an aim that is ever so popular in the sports world, in Arch Manning. So how do you have this one shaping out? This feels like a big-time matchup. Texas versus Ohio State. Who you got?
Let me tell you, I read Phil Steele's college football preview this weekend, and, man, he is high on Texas. He is high on Arch Manning. Thinks he's preseason player of the year, first-team All-American, SEC, you name it. It's Arch Manning. That's a lot of pressure on a guy making his third start. One of them was against UL Monroe. I think the other was an SEC game.
I think it was Mississippi State and Florida were his other two.
Okay, so maybe one decent opponent. Um, that's a lot of inexperience to go into Ohio State and try to pull it off. I'm not discounting what he's going to do. I think this Texas team is going to be fine. I think that by the time they play Georgia, they could very well contend and go beat Georgia. But week one, I'm going to go with Ohio State. I'm going with the experience. New quarterback or not, that's just a tough opening road game for sure.
Yeah, definitely a tough one to go on the road to what's going to be a hostile environment in the Horseshoe on Saturday morning. Like I mentioned, I mean, there's going to be a lot of new faces, both on offense and the defensive side. Jonathan Wingo is going to be Texas wide receiver one now with the departures at the wide receiver spot. Ohio State, I mean, honestly, one of the best 1-2 punches that they got at the wide receiver position with Cardell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. Ohio State is going to have to reload at the running back position. Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are both gone, but I expect this to be a defensive type of game. I mean, these are two new quarterbacks coming into this system. I mean, Sayin and Manning doesn't really have too much experience at the starting position, so I think it's going to be a low-scoring game going to the half. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 14-7 at the break and they, finally get it going. But give me the Longhorns to pull this thing out. I mean, I'm very high on Texas as well, like a lot of people are. I have them making it all the way to the SEC championship game. Nothing to discredit Ohio State, but I'm just buying into the Texas hype. We'll see if it works out. We'll see if it's not. This could blow up in my face if Ohio State wins like 42-17 like they did against Tennessee. But Chet's going to go with Ohio State, and you can see why he went with Texas just to get a little separation.
Break it up a little bit,
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 on the Buckeyes, 1 on the Longhorns. We'll see how this plays out. Last time Texas went into the Big Ten, worked out pretty nice for them when they beat Michigan a couple of years back. I'm not expecting that type of blowout, but you never know in college football these days. Let's go on to the next matchup. This is honestly one of the most underrated games of the weekend. Syracuse versus number 24 Tennessee. Syracuse coming in definitely one of the more underrated teams in the ACC. You could say Duke is also underrated, Georgia Tech, North Carolina with the hype of Bill Belichick and Gio Lopez being the starting quarterback. And Tennessee, like we said, I mean, every single team we have talked about, what are they replacing? A quarterback. Nico is no longer at Tennessee. He's now at UCLA. Joey Aguilar coming from Appalachian State. And also at the running back position, how did they replace Dylan Sampson in the defense? I think a lot of people are talking about, are they going to take a step back or not? So Syracuse versus Tennessee, ACC versus SEC, a lot of matchups featuring both of those conferences over the weekend. So how do you have the SEC doing against the ACC in this one?
I like Syracuse and the ACC as a dark horse. I think that losing Kyle McCord is going to be tough for them and LaQuint Allen. So they got some rebuilding to do. But I think it's a talented team. Tennessee, I mean, this team just scares me. I'm not really a big believer in Joey Aguilar. They have no returning starters at wide receiver. They've lost Dylan Sampson, but we talked about it. Peyton Lewis, he's good. I think he's going to be that next guy. I like that it's a neutral site game closer to Tennessee, but I just am not buying the Vols right now. I'm going to go with Syracuse and a little bit of a shocker here. I think it's going to be low scoring, like a 24-21 type game, but give me Syracuse in this one. This could be totally wrong, and Aguilar could fit the hype, but I don't know. I think it's going to be slow out the gate for Tennessee.
Man, so far in the big games, you haven't even picked a single SEC team. You must be down on the conference.
Well, I mean, it would have worked in the bowl season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go Tennessee here. I just still have faith in this team to get things right out of the gate. So, Joey Aguilar, you could have your question marks about him. I think that Tennessee will take a step back from last year's squad. I mean, I don't think that they make the college football playoff this season, but I still think that they could be an 8-4, 9-3 type of team. Syracuse, I definitely like them. I think that Tennessee's defense will rise to the occasion in this game. So give me the Volunteers, and you're the lone orange on this one in the battle of the orange quads there. So we'll see how it works out for our pickers here as we go on to the next one. And it's an in-state battle between Mississippi State at Southern Miss. Yes, Mississippi State is going on the road to Hattiesburg.
The Rock, right?
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be, honestly, I'm going to watch this one because this is definitely going to be an exciting matchup. It should honestly be Mississippi State at Marshall because this is pretty much what Southern Miss has become. They took Marshall as head coach and they'd be like, all right, we'll take your quarterback, your receiver, and pretty much your whole entire team. So Mississippi State at Marshall, a.k.a. Southern Miss, who you got?
Oh, what do I want to do? I can't keep picking against the SEC, can I?
Especially against Sun Belt team, but you have.
Sure, I can. I don't know, man. Mississippi State, they scare me, but I can't believe they would lose to Toledo last year and Southern Miss this year.
That would be awful.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna go with State.
All right, so I guess you have this one being razor thin margin and Mississippi State winning this one because.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I mean, Southern Miss, yes, you did bring up a good point. They brought in all the Marshall players. Marshall won the Sun, or no, they didn't win the Sun Belt, did they?
No, I don't think they won the Sun Belt.
They had a good year though, and they bring all those guys in. So this is going to be a new look team. But this is still a team that was pretty bad a year ago. So I don't think they're quite at the echelon to beat an SEC school. But if it were to happen, it would be at home against Mississippi State. But I'm going to give Mississippi State the benefit of the doubt.
I think that Southern Miss is going to give Mississippi State a headache, but it's a new season for the Dogs. Give me Mississippi State on the road to get it done. Will it be pretty? No. Will it be a win to get them to 1-0? And look forward to Arizona State coming to their house next week. They definitely need this one before it gets really tough. Because if they don't win this one, then they ain't making a bowl game this season. So give me Mississippi State. And Chet is going with Southern Miss. There's our first upset,
Homer
if we want to call it. Yeah, homer pick for him. But 2 on the Dogs and 1 on the Golden Eagles. Definitely going to be a hostile environment at the Rock. Moving on to the next game. Speaking of Toledo, I'm glad you brought up Toledo because here they are again, going into SEC country. Toledo is honestly the unanimous favorite to win the MAC, and I've seen some experts even pick Toledo to make it to the college football playoff, which give me the MAC team. Honestly, if a MAC team makes it to the playoff, that would be the best thing ever. But Toledo at Kentucky, we've talked about Kentucky honestly being one of the worst teams in the SEC. I'll just say it very bluntly. They're not going to be very good this season. You have Zach Calzado coming from Incarnate Word. Speaking of Incarnate Word, I want to shout out Nichols for pulling off that upset on Saturday. If you tuned in to ESPN2, his absolute dominant performance. So good job by the Colonels. But going back to this one, Toledo, Kentucky, I feel this is where it gets a little bit wild when we're picking these two teams.
Yeah, it does. And look, Toledo, I think one thing that's cool about them is they're not afraid to schedule these SEC matchups. They've played Ohio State in years past. So they look pretty good whenever they play the big schools. I mean, they gave Ohio State fits. They beat Mississippi State last year. Another SEC win could go a long way to making the playoff, like you said. I think they would need a big win like this, and then they would need Boise State and Tulane to kind of have a rough season. Could happen. They're both losing their star running backs and some talent across the board to the transfer portal. So, look, the window's there, and I think they get off to the right start here. I am low as low can get on Kentucky. Usually I'm a big blue buyer. Not this season. Give me the Rockets.
Yeah, didn't Toledo, they didn't just beat Mississippi State. They beat the doors off of them 41-17 last season. Yeah, Toledo, I've been seeing reports like Kentucky, we're not going to be overlooking Toledo. But once Toledo hits that field, it's going to be a rude awakening for Kentucky. However, I'm going to be just boring and plain. I'm going to pick Kentucky at home. I think they get it done in a very sloppy but winnable game for the Cats. And Chet's going to go the same. So, man, either you're going to be at the bottom of the standings this week or you're going to be at the top.
SEC hater.
Yeah, you're an SEC hater over here. We might have to suspend you next week of how much hate you're giving the conference. But let's go on to the next one, which features, speaking of Marshall, they're definitely a new look team this season. They had to go on the road to number 5 Georgia for their first game. Good luck, Marshall. But how do you have this one going? Georgia definitely a team that is catching a lot of people's attention. Both national championship aspirations, but Gunnar Stockton is now the face of this team. So what are you looking forward to in Georgia's first game in this new era? Even though that Stockton got his first start, both in the playoff and the SEC championship. He now has a full season.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm more interested in how they're going to run the football.
Right.
I feel like they've kind of gone to a committee approach the last few seasons, and that's fine, and I think they will again. But Nate Frazier, if he can be like that dominant Georgia running back that we're used to, I think that would really help Stockton because, they kind of had a change in offensive identity between Bennett and Carson Beck where they were really trying to throw the football. I think they're going to go back to that old school running and defense. So I'm excited to see this new look offense. And yes, the SEC hatred stops here. I'm going with Georgia.
Yay. Finally, an SEC pick. But I'm going to go with Georgia. I mean, this is going to be a blowout. Marshall's just not a very good football team. They're pretty much replacing their whole entire roster because, like I mentioned, they're now playing in Hattiesburg. But now we're going all dogs. I mean, honestly, get used to this, seeing pretty much a G every single week. But let's go on to the next matchup. Number 8, Alabama at Florida State. Alabama is my SEC champion, so obviously I'm high on them this season. Maybe others are still having some question marks just because of Ty Simpson hasn't proven himself yet. Jam Miller is also out in this game. He suffered a broken collarbone, but he will be back for that Georgia game. So that's definitely going to be huge for Alabama. Florida State, season to forget last season, 2-10. And all I've heard from Florida State and Tommy Castellanos, he's been talking mad shit about Alabama this season. So we'll see if it works. We'll see if it's not. Alabama versus Florida State. We've seen it last time we saw this matchup. It was an absolute blowout. And it feels like for the past couple of years, it's been a blowout every time Alabama faces these type of team to open up the season. So do you have this being even close?
I mean, I like that Florida State's at home. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see Alabama losing this one. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Jam Miller is kind of the identity of this team. But that being said, Ty Simpson does have 2 of the better receivers in the SEC to throw to. So I think they'll get by with a committee approach, and they'll be able to throw the ball just fine on this rebuilding Florida State team. But no, I think it's going to be like a 14 or 15-point win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, Florida State's offense can't get any worse than it did last year. I mean, DJ U's the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Now you get Tommy Castellanos coming from Boston College. He's a dual-threat quarterback, but honestly, the one thing you don't do against Alabama is trying to be all tough on him because look what USC did. Coming out of the tunnel, they're like bear crawling. They got beat like 52-6. I don't think this one's going to be close. I mean, I know that Florida State's trying to rebuild from the transfer portal and all, but Alabama. It's just gonna be all Crimson Tide on this one. This is definitely a team that's looking for revenge this season after having a disappointing first season under Kalen DeBoer. And Chet's going with Alabama. So even if Chet's not even picking Florida State, they don't have a chance in this one. So give me all of us on the Crimson Tide. And now we go to the FCS versus SEC teams. Hopefully we won't see many of these moving forward. But Alabama A&M at Arkansas. Arkansas definitely one of those sleeper teams in the SEC with Taylor Green coming back. Really talented offense. They did lose some key pieces on the defensive side of the ball, them being one of Landon Jackson. But Arkansas is not playing in Little Rock for the first time, it feels like, in quite some time for the first season. Thank the Lord. They're actually playing in their own stadium for once. But Alabama A&M, Arkansas, I believe you're going with Arkansas unless you are turning crazy on me and going against the SEC once again.
Yeah, maybe if you took the A&M off.
Oh, Alabama and Arkansas.
or even Alabama off there, but together, no. I'm going to go with Arkansas in this one. By the way, they're trying to get rid of the Little Rock game. This is the last year it's under contract. I think they play one of their other out-of-conference games there.
All right. Well, hopefully, I don't know if there's going to be any more Little Rock games, but we will have to see. Arkansas, pretty self-explanatory. I mean, FCS teams don't really stand a chance unless you're playing in NCAA 26. Let's go on to the next one. Illinois State at number 18, Oklahoma. Let's just go quick picks here. Wade, are you going with the Sooners here?
Yeah, I'm excited to see this offense.
Yep, 3 Oklahomas, and we continue with the FCS versus SEC. Long Island, number 15, Florida. I'm guessing you're going with the Gators here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Gators. This is a weird matchup.
It is a weird matchup. I mean, Long Island has been a powerhouse in baseball. It feels like for the past couple of years. I would love to see this matchup, but on the football field, not going to be a good day for the Sharks of Long Island. That I mean, golly, that's going to be. Imagine going from New York, the weather in New York, all the way down to Gainesville, where it's probably going to be feels like 110, and the humidity is going to be through the roof. Just look at what Utah went through a couple of years back. But all Gators, and now we go to UTSA at number 19, Texas A&M. Can A&M avenge what the baseball team couldn't do and beat UTSA?
That is a good point. Yeah, I mean UTSA's they're no slouch. They got Luke McCown's son at quarterback, I believe. So I think they could hang in here a little bit, but once A&M gets rolling with Marcel Reed, I think this one's over pretty quick, and I think they just run away with it in the second half.
Yeah, pretty easy here. I'm going to go with Texas A&M. Chet's going to go with Texas A&M. We're just going to breeze through all these. Charleston Southern at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, we'll see if they can be our SEC talk. If we can just bring them up every single week like we did last season. But Vanderbilt going up against Charleston Southern, I know a college that you're quite familiar with, so definitely going to be an exciting matchup for you to watch. So you got between the Buccos and the Doors.
Charleston Southern, they play a lot of SEC teams. They've gone down to the Swamp against Tim Tebow. They played at Georgia. So, yeah, they're not afraid to play these games and get their check. This one could be winnable in years past, but I do think Vanderbilt has turned a new leaf, and I think they're going to have no problem.
Yeah, give me the Doors. This one is going to be over by halftime. Sorry, Charleston Southern. Get your check and get out. Vanderbilt is going to win this one. And now let's go to our other big matchup on Saturday night. If you're an LSU fan, you're probably thinking that you don't have to wait all the way until Sunday night for the season openers. We had number 9 LSU and number 4 Clemson. Now, this has definitely been an exciting couple of last matchups. The last time that these teams faced off was in the national championship in 2020. Then before that was the 2012 Peach Bowl where Clemson won on a walk-off field goal. So definitely exciting times. This is going to be a home-and-home game, so not only will we see it this year, but we'll also see it next year in Baton Rouge. So LSU versus Clemson, definitely an exciting matchup. Two high-powered offenses and two talented defenses. So how do you see this one playing out on Saturday night?
Oh, man, LSU,
Oh,
LSU. 5 straight season opener losses. Tough road game. I think Clemson's slightly overrated. I mean, they did get dismantled by Georgia, and they got beat by South Carolina at home. So I don't know if they're deserving of the number 4 ranking, but I think it's certainly a top 10 team. And that's a tough one to go in on the road. I like both of the quarterbacks a lot. Clemson defense is pretty overwhelming. If LSU can run the football, it'll go a long way. But my main concern is it's going to take like 2 or 3 games to get this new revamped secondary for LSU to gel. And you do not have that luxury playing a road game against a top 3 quarterback in the country. And I think LSU loses another heartbreaker. But I'm not going to be heartbroken because I picked the loss here. The last couple seasons, I've picked them to win. So, hey, maybe there's a little psychology going on here. But as it stands, yeah, I hate having that Paul print by my name. I really do.
No, I think you secretly love it. But LSU and Clemson, yeah, this is definitely going to be the one to watch. I don't even know. It's either going to turn into a high-scoring affair where both defenses can't stop a lick, or this is going to be just an all-out brawl between the two defenses. Yeah, so I mean, I don't even know how this one's going to go. But I think if LSU's side on defense, you cannot let Cade Klubnik go all wild. I mean, he's a dual-threat quarterback. You have to limit the big rushing plays that he had, especially late in the season, because he struggled early in the season when Clemson was struggling. But whenever they were making that run to the college football playoff, Cade Klubnik was sensational down the stretch. I think that if you were going to put one question mark on Clemson, is at the running back position. I think that's where – not really say that's the weakest, but they definitely have to prove themselves. Same with LSU. I mean, you have Caden Durham, but LSU was honestly abysmal at running the football last season. Garrett Nussmeier was throwing it like 40 to 50 times a game. can't really do that too much, especially against a Clemson front that's going to really stack up the box there. So I think that this is going to be a 4-quarter battle. Honestly, I've been picking LSU for the past couple of years. They let me down. I'm going to continue to do it until they actually give me a win to open up this
Yeah,
season.
that's a true fan.
So give me the Tigers. I'm going to say 28-24. I think it's going to be a 4-quarter battle. I think LSU's defense steps up to the occasion and gets like a late pick to seal the deal. And the LSU fans will storm the field like Clemson does. So I'm going to be the Tigers. Give me the LSU Tigers, purple and gold. I forgot there's 2 Tigers in both Death Valleys. But Chet, you know him; he won't go against the purple and gold ever, unless honestly, I can't remember the last time that that Chet went against LSU. But 1 is on Clemson, 2 is on LSU. And the theme of this week is that Wade doesn't like the SEC this year, so remember that for the past couple of weeks. Moving on to the next one, Georgia State at number 21, Ole Miss. How do you have the Rebels facing off? And honestly, I haven't heard from you about Ole Miss. So what are your expectations from Lane Kiffin's squad this year?
I think they're favorable, optimistic. I think this team, I think they're going to have to reload at quarterback and wide receiver, but I don't think they're in a bad shape at either position. I think we're just going to have to get used to some new names, but I think the offense is plug and play. I mean, Lane Kiffin's still running the show, so I think this team has less championship pedigree potential, but honestly, they didn't meet that last year when they had the players to do it. So I think they're an 8-4 kind of team, and this will be a win.
All right, Ole Miss. Honestly, if it would have been amazing if this was on Turner, like the old Turner Field. This would have been an amazing road trip for Ole Miss. But unfortunately, Georgia State is going to go on the road, and they will go home with a loss. Same thing the way the Braves have been playing this season. So give me Ole Miss. Now let's go on to the next one. Now we go to the Sunday games. We don't have any Monday games in the SEC, though. The Monday game, definitely tune in that one. TCU versus North Carolina, definitely going to be a game to watch on Labor Day. Virginia Tech versus number 13, South Carolina. It's the Beamer Bowl. Virginia Tech and South Carolina. I think a lot of people are very high on South Carolina this season. So who you got between the Hokies and the Gamecocks?
Yeah, a lot of people are buying the Gamecocks. Virginia Tech, I mean, Brent Pry, he's on the hot seat. He's got to have a good season. I think they brought back Kenyon Drones at quarterback.
Yep, they did.
So they're going to be an experienced bunch, but I think South Carolina is just too talented overall. I think that Virginia Tech hangs around, but Lenore Sellers makes a lot of plays with his legs and just kind of takes this game over. Good news for the Gamecock fans, Jordan Faison, the running back transfer, he is now eligible. You kind of thought he would be, but the eligibility case just kept lingering on. He was a big transfer portal target. I mean, he had offers from Alabama and other SEC schools. So, South Carolina is very happy to have him. I mean, they didn't really have too much of a backup plan at that position. So going from Raheem Sanders to Faison makes that transition a lot easier and takes a little pressure off Sellers.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I started a South Carolina dynasty. He's an absolute dog. I mean, he honestly almost won the Heisman if it wasn't for Lenore Sellers having almost 5,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards. He was pretty much Lamar 2.0. Same things that you said. I think that Virginia Tech stays close to them, but South Carolina opens up with a statement win. I think that this game starts off Nick Carver's breakout season. I think that he really has to get it going. South Carolina wants to get to the college football playoff. I think that the defense, I think a lot of people have some question marks, but I think that they really showed against a talented quarterback in Kyron Drones. So give me South Carolina. I think it's going to be like a 31-17 type of game like that, but I will go with the Gamecocks. And Chet will also go with the Gamecocks. So clean sweep